Hey, what's up everyone? Jay White here. Thanks for joining us again on Ambition Matters. We've got an exciting, I guess at least location for you today, coming from Pedregal, Los Cabos today. Awesome venue. We've been hanging out here for a few days, but I wanted to send you a quick message. One of the more important ones is going to be surviving the survival stage. And anything that you begin, of course, is going to have that tough spot in the beginning where you're fighting to survive and you're just trying to get by. And most businesses, of course, begin that way. I don't know what the most current statistics are about percentages of businesses that succeed and some that fail. But I'll tell you what, I've been in business for a long time, and I've seen lots of good people come and go. Some survive the survival stage and some don't. And we try to do everything that we can to, equip them with tools. And what I want to try to do today is equip you with some tools in hopes that we can get you through that first 6 months. And then, if you can last that 6 months and develop a little bit of thicker skin, and now you're kind of getting into the, can we survive here? Can I get past a year or 2 or 3 until, cash flow really starts running and debts become lower, and, you can just get into the meat of your business a little bit deeper into it. So I've got 10 points for you today on how to survive the survival stage. Some are gonna apply to you and some are not. Kind of take what suits you and take what you need and leave the rest. There's also going to be some fun cameos on here from some of my great business partners and great friends. We'll have them in the video as we go. So let's dig into it. Surviving the survival stage. 10 points. Number 1, you've got to work on improving your employee mentality. Obviously, if you're moving into an area of business where you've always been an employee, it's completely different. Guys, it's so different. You just have to think very, very different thoughts as an employee than you did as an entrepreneur than you did as an employee. It's completely different thinking. I remember when I was an employee, just kind of doing what I needed to do to survive and get by to the next day. I just didn't really work that hard. I think one of the things that hampered my thinking as I got into business, as I used to think the way that I continued to think the way that I used to, was that I was looking at it in terms of, if I show up, I need to get paid for this. And I got to tell you, that is 100% employee mentality. That's just not how business works. I've got a great friend who used to be a police officer and then opened up 3 franchise locations. And he tells us how he used to work his full shift as a police officer and then spend as much time as needed. Sometimes he was up to 20, 21 hours a day just trying to get his businesses going after his full shift at work. And so, as you start to become an entrepreneur, you've got to realize that, hey, you're not going to get paid to show up. In fact, the reason you become an entrepreneur is that you get out of worried about getting paid to show up. When you're getting paid to show up, I'm telling you, just simply are not going to win long term. I want you to think about what happens when you run out of money before you run out of month. What most people do is they start to try to work more hours. I've got to get, some overtime. I need a second job. I need a third job, or I got to mow some lawns or shovel some snow. Hey guys, look, if they're paying you by the hour and they can pay somebody less by the hour, they're going to do that. It's not a long-term solution. And that's why you're becoming an entrepreneur. That's why you're starting to have your own business, is because you know that the best way to get there is to become so valuable and help so many people that income is just going to come as a result of effort, not as a result of showing up. Number 2 for me is, I want you to make a decision about negativity and whether or not you're going to allow it to knock you out of business. Negativity is a tough thing. In fact, it was the first video on this channel. I've given you lots of tools on how to get past it. I'll give you one more. Just make a decision of whether or not something negative or somebody's negative opinion is going to knock you out, or it isn't. Decide right now. Not decide right now. Actually, I'll give you this tip. Decide in a really strong moment, like a moment where you feel really good. You don't make decisions in bad moments, you make decisions in good moments. And so, hey, just decide on negativity. It's either going to be enough to take you out, or you're going to be tough enough to get past it. Number 3 is to be willing to struggle for a little while. This one is very important. I'm going to tell you, probably most great entrepreneur stories start out with some struggle. I remember ours certainly did. You know, when my wife and I got started in our business, we had taken a pretty substantial pay cut from our jobs, and my wife was on maternity leave with our first daughter, and we were used to living an income, a lifestyle of a certain income, and now we didn't have the income anymore, but we didn't necessarily change the lifestyle the way that we needed to. And so we spent some time really struggling. And I remember, I'll tell you this one quick story. I remember we had a young baby at home, and our dryer broke down, and we need to go find basically the world's cheapest dryer. And so we went to this store where I had much earlier in my life had an account where I had purchased some furniture, and I thought, hey, we don't really have any money now, we need a dryer, let's go to this store and we'll just put it on the account that I have. And as we got there, we found a $200 dryer and went to put it on an account, and turned out that account just didn't exist anymore. And so I'm sitting there needing a dryer, it's $200, and I didn't have the funds to even do that, you know, for our family. And so we've struggled just like anybody else did. But I'll tell you what, a year later, maybe it was 2 years later, something like that, I remember walking into that same store after having made $42,000 that month, and we needed to buy our daughter a bed now instead of a dryer, and we can buy any bed in the whole place and probably get her 10 of them in all the different colors. And just life can become very different very fast. But can you go through the struggle when it's your turn to go through the struggle? Right? The struggle is the cool part. Struggling in the beginning is what makes winning so fun. Right? And so I want you to embrace the struggle and get yourself through it. Number 4, hey, save money and keep your expenses low. Right? As your income grows, right? I'm gonna build a case to you that this is not the time to dramatically increase your lifestyle. You know, as you were starting in your business, my guess is you were not homeless and you were not hungry. And you know, as your income grows, put some away. You know, we set up a weekly pack into our own savings, where every week, not every month or even every 2 weeks, but as often as we can, which is weekly, we put money into our save. We just want to save as much as we can. Let me tell you why this is important. There is a bad month coming. It doesn't matter how great things are rolling for you right now. They can sneak up from out of nowhere, and a bad month can happen. And when it does, you need to be ready, because I don't want you walking back into your old job with a resume and asking if you can go and work there again. So put some money away. Please be conservative with your money as you're getting started. Number 5 is learn to earn. You got to learn how to produce cash flow. I don't know what your business is, but in my business, we show people that they should save money and get proper life insurance, and we help them get a better mortgage rate, and we do lots of things on the financial side. But whatever it is that you do, you've got to learn how to close it. You've got to become a better closer. Closing, I want you to think about it this way. It is helping people make a decision that is good for them. Perhaps, and in many cases, it's going to be helping people make a decision that they should have made a long time ago. Right? So closing is helping. Closing is not a bad thing in any way. I'm going to let my friend Adam take it a little bit deeper.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. We're here at absolutely beautiful Cabo, and just spending some time with some champions. I thought I'd pop on here really quickly and talk to you about the power of learning to earn. And the first thing I want to tell you about any business that you're in sales. Sales can be the very highest paying profession or the absolutely lowest paying profession, depending on one thing, and that is who is actually doing the sales, who's doing the closing. And so I'd give you a quick tip. Number 1 is you have to study closing. I remember there was a time in my business where I couldn't close a door. I tell you, I couldn't close anything. And I thought, well, the common denominator must be me in all of these, because I'm sitting down with these people, so how can I get better? So tip number 1 is Master the Art of Selling by Tom Hopkins. That's tip number 1. You got to get that book and study it. And by the way, there's lots by Zig Ziglar and Brian Tracy. There's a whole bunch more, but that one is one of the best books you'd ever read on sales. Second quick tip is this: you need exposure. you need to personally get out and practice, because, with real people, sitting down just by yourself and practicing with the dog or practicing with a plant, it's good, but it's not the real thing. You could practice 1,000 phone calls with your grandma and then make a real one, and it's a different experience. So you need exposure. You need to get out and practice. And then finally, the last thing that I would put on there is that you need to actually track your results. So if you go out in a week's time and you sit down with X amount of people and you get X amount of results, you need to track that every single week, because as you measure it, you can manage it. And this is how you'll start to become a professional. Number one is to read that book and start becoming a serious student about closing. Number two, get lots of exposure every single week, every single day. And then number three is to make sure that you track it all. And I think the most important part to everything is you got to have fun. If you're not having fun, they're not having fun. And if you're taking it too serious, they're taking it too serious. And if you're confused, they're confused. And a confused mind always says no. So have fun and be professional, and I hope that you guys enjoyed this.
Number 6, got to find ways to stay positive. It's not always going to go your way, right? There's going to be some tough days. There's going to be some great days. There's going to be all kinds of them. And so what I found over time was I had to find different ways to stay positive. I remember I was having, it was 2015, I was having sorry, that's not true. It was 2017, I was having just an okay year and not really having all that much fun in business. And my coach, who will be featured on this video, he came into my office one day and he said, look, here's what I need you to do. I need you to build a list of the 10 things that you're most excited about in your business right now, and I'm gonna need those in an hour. And I had to get to work. Well, my coach gave me a task, I had to go and get that done. So I built this list, and it was things that I had not been thinking of that are wonderful things that were all going great in my business, and it just made me feel better, right? And it helped me get into a positive place. And what that evolved into for me is something I call reminders of good things, right? Some days I'll just start my day by reading a list like that. I always want to stay in the most positive place that I can. So, maybe use that strategy or whatever it is that would work for you to stay positive, but use that. Number 7, part-time will equal survival stage forever. So whatever it is that you're doing, my hope is that you're kind of, at least in my business, we keep our jobs and we start part-time. But if you stay part-time forever, you'll be forever fighting survival within your business. There's got to become a plan to get full-time so that you can give it your all. You take whatever time it is that you need to get good at it, to get good at your business, but then you've got to find a way to get at it full-time. It's going to require full-time hours to become really, really successful. Number 8 is stay in the big. Stay in the big means really concern yourself, put your time, your energy, your focus into things that actually matter. Too many of us get tied down in all of the little, we're building spreadsheets and we're worried about, whatever nonsense that doesn't really affect the business on a long-term basis, where what I want you to be staying in is the big stuff. It's developing people. It's, what's the vision of the business? What, where are things going? What can I do to affect us on a long-term basis where I'm not super concerned about, smaller things that aren't really going to matter a week or a month from now. So really work on staying in the big. Number 9, you got to learn to limit or cut out completely negative associations. When you're getting started in your business, there's just simply not enough, there's just no room for negative people around you, right? And unfortunately, some of the negativity is going to come from places that you don't expect it, places you don't want it to be coming from. And sometimes cutting ties is going to be difficult. Sometimes it's going to be easy. I mean, you may have people that you know are negative influences that you need to cut out now. And I'm kind of just giving you permission to do it. But sometimes it's going to be more difficult. I mean, it might be family. It might be people close to you that are giving you some negativity, and you've got to, you don't necessarily have to cut them out of your life, but what you've got to do is you've got to limit the amount of time that you spend together. And I'll give you this tip as well. when you have somebody that's real close that gives you negativity, you do need to confront it. You need to get the elephant out of the room. I would say something like this: hey, it's important to me that we do get to spend some time together from time to time, but I'm not going to listen to you be negative about my business. If you have positive things to say, we can talk about that, or else let's just not talk about it at all when we're together. You know, and just by saying something like that and setting some ground rules, you know, maybe you can keep them around a little bit more than you would have.
Hey everybody, we are coming at you here. You can see in the background, we're at the Waldorf Astoria in Los Cabos, but I just wanted to give you a bit of a tip on your journey to success. So the person that you need to become to be successful in this business, by the way, any type of person can be successful in this business: man, woman, young, old, introverted, extroverted, different types of careers, all of that sort of thing. But great success in anything is going to require you striving to be the best version of yourself that you could be. The great Tony Robbins refers to it as CANI, constant and never-ending improvement. But that person that you're going to become in the next 1 to 3 to 5 years will be defined by a couple of things: the books you read, the podcasts you listen to, and the people that you spend the most time with. I read it over and over again in a whole bunch of books and heard it from a whole bunch of people that the person that you become, or you become the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. So personally, I made a very conscious effort in my life to spend more time with people that uplifted me, spend more time with people that had areas in their life that were what I wanted to be like. As time went on, I realized it is just so true that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So choose to spend time with people that support what you're trying to accomplish in your life. Choose people that are, that give you something to strive for, and that actually in some ways also challenge you to become a better person. So for me, I had to find a way to spend a little bit of less time with people that are negative and people that weren't supportive. That didn't mean they were all people that were part of my business, but you know, the city that I come from, Edmonton, there's 1 million people. So why do I need to spend time with people around people that are negative and not supportive? Hope that helps.
And number 10, guys, your efforts must be consistent. I'll give you an analogy. It's the best one I've ever heard or come up with in terms of consistency, but it's microwave popcorn, right? You very likely microwaved popcorn before. And I want you to think, what would happen if I put my popcorn in the microwave for 15 seconds and then I got busy for a week, and then I came back and I put my popcorn in there for another 10 seconds, and then my kids are sick, and then a week later I do another 15. How long till I'm eating popcorn? Never. And becoming successful and getting out of the survival stage is very, very similar. If I put a bit of effort and then I allow time to go by, I have no compounding of effort, and I just stay in the survival stage all the time, right? Getting to where you want to go requires effort and intensity and heat right now. Let's go and be consistent, and then out comes all of the things that you want. And so, hey, with that, guys, thanks so much for spending some time with us. I hope you enjoyed this. I certainly love every time we're in a beautiful place to get an opportunity to bring you a video from there. So hope you enjoyed it. Talk to you soon.